What you do when money hits your account says more about your future than any job title ever will. Most people get paid and don't think twice. The money shows up and it's gone before the weekends. Bills, takeout, stuff they didn't plan for. Then they wonder why nothing changes, why they still feel stuck. But the 1%, they act different. They treat every payday like a moment of power. Not a break, not a reward, a decision. This isn't about being rich. It's about thinking ahead. It's about building something with what you already have. See, every time you get paid, you're not just receiving money. You're being handed a chance to grow, a chance to take control, a chance to get one step closer to freedom. This isn't a lecture. This is the truth most people were never taught. And once you hear it, you won't be able to go back to how you used to handle money. It'll click and you'll know exactly what to do every time you get paid. Chapter 1. Choose to secure your wealth every payday. Each day, a person makes a choice about the direction of their life, and that choice becomes a seed. When someone receives a paycheck, the seed becomes even more powerful because money always reveals the truth about a person's habits. Most people wait for life to push them before they move. A very small group moves because they understand where they want to go. And that tiny group, that 1%, decides to secure their wealth the moment money enters their hands. This choice is not about luck. It is not about background. It is not about being gifted. It is a decision they practice until it becomes a normal part of who they are. When a person chooses to secure their wealth every payday, something changes inside them. They begin to live with a sense of personal responsibility. They begin to feel calm because their future is not a guess anymore. When money arrives, they do not rush to spend. They pause. They breathe. They look at their goals and ask themselves what action will protect their future. This moment is where strength is built. People who fail financially are not foolish. They simply never learned how to take control of this moment. They allow their excitement or their stress to decide for them. An emotion is a terrible manager of money. The 1% manages the moment instead of letting the moment manage them. To secure your wealth every payday, you must start with a clear reason. A strong why. Not a shallow wish, but a reason that pulls you forward when old habits try to drag you back. It may be a desire to give your family a safer life. It may be the wish to break a painful pattern you saw growing up. It may be the dream of freedom where you wake up and your life does not depend on anyone's permission. This reason should be felt deeply. When you feel it, your actions will begin to align with it. Every payday becomes a reminder of the future you are building. People often say they cannot save or invest because they do not make enough. Yet, I have seen people with modest income create more stability than those with double or triple their salary. The difference is not the size of the paycheck, but the strength of the decision they make when the paycheck arrives. The 1% does not wait for more money to build better habits. They build the habits first, and those habits ultimately bring them more money. If you wait until you earn more, you will never begin because desire always grows along with income. You have to take charge now with whatever amount you have. When you choose to secure your wealth every payday, you begin by paying your future self before paying anyone else. Not because you are selfish, but because you understand that your life must be strong before you can help others. People who never save feel anxious because they know one emergency can destroy everything they have built. They live with a quiet tension that follows them each month. The 1% removes that tension by securing a portion of every paycheck for their future. It may feel uncomfortable at first because comfort often comes from doing what is familiar. But comfort from old habits never built a better life. Security does. This choice also teaches discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is a promise you make to yourself. It is the ability to say, I control my life instead of letting circumstances dictate it. When you set aside money first, you are proving to yourself that you can follow through on your intentions. This becomes a powerful feeling because self-trust grows. Self-trust is one of the greatest forms of wealth a person can build. Without it, you will doubt every decision. With it, you will move forward with confidence. People ask why the 1% is so calm when it comes to money. It is because they design their life instead of reacting to it. They make small yet meaningful decisions every payday. They choose how much goes toward savings, how much goes toward investments, and how much goes toward immediate needs. This clarity brings peace. People outside this habit feel confused because everything feels urgent. They do not know what to pay first or how much to save or what to do next. They feel rushed. They feel behind. The 1% never feels behind because they decide in advance how their money works for them. Choosing to secure your wealth every payday also changes the way you view spending. You begin to ask yourself simple yet powerful questions. Do I need this or do I want this right now? Does this move me closer to my goals or farther away? Am I spending because I am tired, stressed, or angry? These questions make you aware, and awareness is the key to growth. Most people spend without thinking. They chase a feeling that fades quickly and then wonder why their bank account is empty. The 1% spends with intention because they value long-term stability over short bursts of pleasure. Another powerful shift happens when you begin securing your wealth. Each payday you become more patient. Wealth is not built through frantic moves. It is built through steady actions. When you save consistently, your confidence grows. When you invest consistently, your future grows. When you plan consistently, your life grows. You stop comparing your journey to others because you know you are moving in the right direction. Comparison disappears and focus takes its place. Your energy changes as well. You walk with more certainty. You begin to feel proud of yourself because you are doing something many people never do. This pride is not arrogance. It is the feeling of progress. Progress builds hope. Hope builds courage. Courage builds change. And that change begins with one moment. The moment you get paid. People often dream of changing their life, but they wait for the right day. The right day is the day you decide to take control. Choosing to secure your wealth every payday is not just a financial habit. It is a life habit. You are telling your future, I am coming for you. You are telling your past, you no longer control me. You are telling yourself, you deserve a life with stability, with peace, with choices. There will be days when you feel tempted to stop. There will be moments when old habits whisper to you. But remember this, nothing changes until you change. And nothing grows until you plant something. Every payday is an opportunity to plant something strong, something lasting, something that honors the life you want. The 1% did not become wealthy by chance. They became wealthy because they decided to take their future seriously. They showed up for themselves. They made small choices that brought big results over time. And you can do the same. Your life will not change in a single day, but it will change with consistent days. And every payday is a chance to take one more step toward the life you want. Choose to secure your wealth every payday. Choose to build your future with intention. Choose to rise above excuses. Choose to show yourself that you are capable of more. You have the power to shape your life, and it begins the moment money enters your hands. Each payday is a reminder that you are the builder of your future. Use that moment with purpose. Use that moment with strength. Use that moment to move your life forward. Chapter 2. Build automatic growth steps with each paycheck. Every person hopes for a better future, but only a few create systems that guarantee it. The difference is simple. Those who rise do not depend on willpower alone because willpower is inconsistent. They build steps that move automatically even on days when they feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. When someone decides to build automatic growth steps with each paycheck, they remove the guesswork and the stress that comes from trying to stay on track. What most people do once in a while, the top group does without fail because their system works even when their motivation fades. This is how real change begins. Not by wishing, but by creating a routine that keeps growing even when life becomes busy. Automatic growth steps turn income into progress. Many people receive a paycheck and promise themselves they will save or invest later. Later never comes. Life fills with small expenses and emotional purchases, and they end the month wondering where everything went. They do not lack discipline. They lack a structure that protects their goals. When the 1% receives money, they set up systems that move their money where it needs to go without them having to think about it each time. These systems become protective walls around their dreams. Once they are built, the path becomes clearer and the future becomes easier to design. Each paycheck is a chance to grow. When you automate growth, you take emotion out of the decision. You do not wake up and debate whether to save or invest. You do not negotiate with yourself. You decide once and your system handles it from that moment on. This gives you more room in your mind for planning, improvement, creativity, and peace. Automatic steps feel small at first, but they build a sense of direction. They remind you that your future matters. With each paycheck, you send a message to yourself that progress is not optional. It is a natural part of your life. To build strong automatic steps, you begin by choosing a portion of your paycheck that goes directly toward your future. The amount does not need to be large. What matters is consistency. Even a small amount moved automatically has more power than a large amount saved occasionally. The growth comes from the routine. Every time money enters your account, you are widening the gap between who you used to be and who you are becoming. You start to feel a shift. Your actions match your intentions. Your life aligns with your goals. Growth steps can include automatic transfers into savings accounts, investment accounts, or debt reduction. Each step supports your stability. People often avoid these steps because they worry they will not have enough for the rest of their needs. But here is the truth. When you automate growth, you learn to live with more clarity and control. You begin to see your spending more honestly. You start noticing where your money truly goes. The habit forces you to choose what matters and release what does not. Without automation, you live in reaction mode. With automation, you live in creation mode. Automatic steps also protect you from your weaker moments. Every person has days when they feel overwhelmed or tempted to use money for comfort. With no system, those days can set you back months. But when automatic steps are in place, even your difficult days produce growth. Imagine how powerful that is. Imagine moving forward even when life becomes heavy. The 1% builds these systems because they know they cannot rely on emotion to build wealth. They rely on structure. You do the work once and the system keeps paying you back again and again. As you build these steps, you start noticing something important. Your stress begins to fade. Financial anxiety thrives in chaos. When you do not know where your money goes, you feel uncertain. When you do not have a plan, you feel exposed. Automatic steps create order. Order creates peace. Peace creates the space you need to think clearly and make better decisions. Over time, this clarity becomes one of your greatest advantages. You will see opportunities you never noticed before because your mind is no longer crowded with worry. Another powerful benefit of automatic growth is that it teaches you patience. Many people want quick results, but lasting success rarely arrives fast. Automatic progress is slow, steady, and reliable. It builds confidence rather than excitement. Excitement fades. Confidence stays. With each paycheck, your system pushes you forward inch by inch, and those inches eventually become miles. People who look successful often built their foundation through years of automatic steps. They were not lucky, they were consistent. When you follow automatic steps, you also develop a new identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes control, not someone who hopes things work out. This identity change affects everything you do. You think differently. You make decisions with more awareness. You stop acting out of panic or impulse. You feel grounded. And when a person feels grounded, they make choices that strengthen their life instead of weakening it. This shift cannot be bought. It must be earned through repeated action. Each time you get paid, you are given a chance to design your future again. People who ignore this chance pay for it later with stress, regret, and lost time. People who use this chance gain strength, direction, and growth. Automatic steps make sure you never miss the chance again. They make progress a natural part of your routine, just like eating or sleeping. When growth becomes routine, success becomes predictable. Another thing happens when you automate growth. You begin to value your time and energy more. You no longer waste mental space worrying about what you should have done. You no longer chase last-minute solutions. You move from survival to stability and from stability to growth. Once you taste that feeling, you never want to go back. You feel proud of yourself because you are acting like the person you always wanted to become. This pride fuels even better decisions. Automatic steps also create emotional space. When your money is handled with structure, you feel calmer. Calm people think better. They plan better. They solve problems better. They communicate better. Financial chaos often spills into every area of life. It affects relationships, health, and confidence. Automatic growth steps repair that chaos by building a stable foundation. With each paycheck, the foundation becomes stronger. You may not see big changes at first. Growth rarely announces itself loudly, but in a few months you will look back and see that you are not the same person. You will see savings building. You will see investments growing. You will see debt shrinking. You will see confidence rising. And all of it will come from steps that happen without you having to fight for them each time. That is the power of automation. This chapter is not about money alone. It is about building a life that grows on its own. It is about choosing a path where progress continues even when you are busy or tired. It is about creating a system so strong that it lifts you forward whether you feel motivated or not. When you build automatic growth steps with each paycheck, you take control of your future. You stop reacting and start building. You stop hoping and start shaping. This decision will follow you for years, and every step will lead you toward a life with more freedom, peace, and strength. Chapter 3. Direct new income toward intentional financial actions. Most people never realize how much power they hold in the first few minutes after they receive new income. That moment shapes their month, their future, and their relationship with money. When income reaches your hands, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to impulse decisions, stress, and confusion. The other path leads to clarity, strength, and progress. The difference lies in choosing intentional financial actions instead of letting old habits control your next move. People who grow financially are not perfect. They simply refuse to let their income wander without direction. They decide where it goes and why it goes there. This level of intention turns each paycheck into a tool for building the life they want instead of feeding the life they are trying to leave behind. Directing income with intention begins with understanding what matters to you in a clear and honest way. Many people skip this step, and that is why they stay stuck. If you do not know what you want, your money cannot serve you. Some people want freedom from debt. Some want a safety cushion that gives them peace. Some want to build wealth that takes care of them in later years. Someone to support family and lift them to a better place. Intention starts by naming what you want without judgment. Once the intention is clear, every paycheck becomes a chance to support that direction. Intentional actions require awareness. When you receive income, you should know exactly what must happen next. Not based on emotion, not based on pressure from other people, and not based on random decisions. You take a moment to breathe and remind yourself that you are in control. You look at your goals and ask which action will move you forward. This simple pause gives you power. Most people rush through income decisions and end up spending on things that do not matter. When you slow down and choose deliberately, you protect your future. The 1% treat new income with respect because they understand how hard it is to build stability and how easy it is to lose it. When money arrives, they do not let excitement guide them. They do not fall into the trap of rewarding themselves before building their foundation. They place their goals in front of them and ask themselves what step aligns with their long-term vision. This shift separates people who progress from those who repeat the same cycle every year. Directing income intentionally also means you create a clear order of priorities. You know what comes first, second, and third. Without this order, everything feels urgent and you end up reacting instead of planning. Your priorities might include strengthening your savings, paying down a specific debt, increasing your investment contributions, or setting money aside for future needs. When your priorities are written and clear, your income begins to move with discipline instead of randomness. You no longer guess your way through financial decisions. You act with purpose. One powerful aspect of intentional financial action is the emotional clarity it brings. When you make decisions that serve your goals, you feel grounded, you feel proud, you feel secure. That feeling grows stronger every time you direct your income towards something meaningful. This emotional shift is important because money can easily trigger fear, frustration, or doubt. When you take intentional steps, those emotions lose their influence. Confidence replaces them. You begin to trust yourself again. People often underestimate how much of their stress comes from unplanned financial choices. When you do not tell your money where to go, it chooses the wrong direction. Almost every time your day becomes filled with small worries. You wonder whether you have enough for bills. You wonder if your savings will last through unexpected costs. You wonder why progress seems so slow. This stress fades when your income follows a plan. Even if the amount you direct is small, the act itself builds stability. Stability brings peace. Intentional actions also protect you from the trap of emotional spending. When new income arrives, people often crave comfort or relief. Food outings, entertainment, and impulse purchases become ways to feel good for a moment. But the moment fades and regret follows. When you direct your income with intention, you remember that long-term satisfaction is far stronger than temporary relief. You choose actions that build your life rather than actions that drain it. A major part of directing income intentionally is learning to separate wants from needs. Many people confuse the two. Needs bring stability. Wants bring pleasure. There is nothing wrong with pleasure as long as it does not steal from your goals. When you receive income, you examine each expense and decide whether it supports your long-term direction. When you do this honestly, you begin to notice how many purchases are emotional rather than useful. This awareness helps you reshape your spending without feeling deprived. You feel empowered because you know your money is working for you, not against you. Each time you direct income toward meaningful goals, you strengthen your discipline. Discipline grows like a muscle. At first it feels uncomfortable, but over time it becomes natural. Your decisions become easier. You stop fighting with yourself. You follow your plan with calm confidence. This inner strength becomes a part of who you are. You begin to carry yourself differently. You feel capable of handling challenges because you know you can follow through on your intentions. Intentional financial action also builds momentum. The more consistent you are, the faster your progress becomes. You begin seeing real changes in your accounts and in your mindset. You notice savings rising. You notice debt shrinking. You notice fewer moments of financial panic. This momentum motivates you to continue, keeps you moving even on days when you feel tired or discouraged. You realize that your efforts are not wasted. They are shaping a future you can be proud of. Another powerful benefit is the sense of responsibility you develop. Many people avoid looking at their finances because they feel overwhelmed. But avoiding responsibility only creates more stress. When you direct income intentionally, you face your situation with honesty. You acknowledge your weaknesses, your habits, and your needs. This honesty leads to growth. You stop hiding from your financial life and start managing it with confidence. Intentional actions also open the door to better opportunities. When you take control of your finances, you become more aware of ways to grow your income. You start noticing skills you can improve, jobs you can pursue, or business ideas you can develop. Your mind becomes clearer because it is no longer weighed down by financial confusion. With clarity, you begin to see your potential more fully, and power begins to move toward people who act with intention. Directing income deliberately is not about restriction. It is about purpose. Purpose gives your life direction. It helps you build the future you want instead of settling for the life you have. Each paycheck becomes a chance to reaffirm your commitment to your goals. You do not treat income as something to spend. You treat it as something to shake. You treat it as a tool that supports your growth. When you begin living this way, your relationship with money transforms. Money no longer controls you. You control it. You no longer fear the future. You prepare for it. You no longer feel stuck. You feel in motion. These changes do not come from luck or a sudden breakthrough. They come from intentional decisions, repeated paycheck after paycheck. A person who directs new income toward intentional financial actions builds a life worth living. They create stability, peace, and confidence. They rise above the patterns that hold others back. They grow even during difficult seasons. They move forward because their actions are tied to their future, not their feelings. You can take this step today. You can choose to give your income a purpose. You can decide that every dollar supports a direction that matters to you. When you do this consistently, your life begins to shift in ways you never imagined. You become the type of person who shapes their future instead of waiting for it. The power is already in your hands. It starts the moment new income arrives and the choice becomes yours again. Chapter 4. Strengthen your future by saving before spending. Most people move through life hoping their future somehow works out. They hope their job stays steady. They hope emergencies stay away. They hope they will have enough someday. But hope without action creates an uncertain life. A strong future is never built by accident. It is built by a simple practice repeated over and over again. Saving before spending. This single choice reshapes the path of your life because it places your future at the front of the line instead of the back. When you choose to save first, you are telling yourself that your long-term security matters more than short-term comfort. You step into a position of responsibility and strength instead of leaving your future to chance. Saving before spending is not about living a hard life. It is about creating a safer one. When you set aside money first, you protect yourself from the stress that destroys so many dreams. You no longer feel shaky about tomorrow because you know you are preparing for it today. That preparation brings calm energy into your life. It gives you the ability to breathe without worrying what will happen if something goes wrong. People who do not save first wake up in fear each month. They wonder how they will handle an unexpected bill or a crisis. That fear follows them like a heavy cloud. But when you save before spending, the cloud begins to fade because you build a shield between yourself and uncertainty. Saving first also sharpens your thinking. When you adjust your life around this habit, you become more aware of your choices. You begin to notice which expenses truly matter and which ones pull you away from your goals. You start making decisions with clarity rather than impulse. That shift alone can change everything for you. People who spend first often live with regret. They look at their accounts at the end of the month and feel frustrated because they cannot explain where their money went. Saving first changes the story. You no longer wonder where your money went because your most important action happened first. You protected what matters before anything else took its place. There is something deeply empowering about taking control of the beginning of each financial cycle. When money comes in, you direct it rather than letting emotion and old habits decide. Saving before spending becomes a form of self-respect. You show yourself that your future is worth more than a quick purchase. That respect improves your confidence because you see yourself honoring your own goals. Confidence grows when your actions match your value. And when confidence grows, you begin to make stronger decisions in every part of your life. Saving first is also a powerful teacher of patience. Most people want everything fast. Fast results, fast rewards, fast entertainment. But a strong future is not built in a hurry. It is built through small, steady steps. When you save consistently, you learn that progress takes time. You stop rushing. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop feeling behind. Instead, you focus on your own path. You appreciate each small gain because you know it is taking you somewhere meaningful. This patience brings peace and removes the anxiety that comes from trying to keep up with everyone else. Saving before spending also changes the way you see money. You no longer treat money as a tool for comfort alone. You treat it as a tool for growth. You treat it as something that can protect you, support you, and open doors for you. Money becomes your ally instead of your source of stress. This mental shift leads to healthier habit. You stop buying things to impress people. You stop wasting money on temporary relief. You start choosing actions that strengthen you long-term. One of the most important benefits of saving first is the foundation it builds. A foundation gives you stability when life becomes unpredictable. Without savings, even a small problem feels like a major crisis. A broken appliance, a medical bill, or a sudden repair can send you into panic. But with savings, your response changes. Instead of fear, you feel prepared. Instead of panic, you feel in control. That sense of control is priceless. It lifts pressure off your shoulders and helps you think clearly during difficult moments. Another powerful result of saving before spending is that it helps you break old patterns. Many people live in cycles of financial frustration because they repeat the same habits every month. They spend most of their money first and then struggle to save what is left. But there is rarely anything left. When you save first, you break that cycle immediately. You reverse the pattern. You begin the month with strength instead of weakness. You begin with progress instead of regret. This reversal is often the turning point in a person's financial life. Saving first also encourages better planning. When you know that your future is secured before anything else, you gain the mental space to plan the rest of your month with clarity. You can budget more realistically. You can prioritize your needs more intelligently. You can make choices with confidence instead of guessing. This sense of structure helps you stay focused and removes the chaos that many people live with. Chaos drains your energy. Order restores it. Saving first creates that order. There is an emotional side to this habit that cannot be ignored. When you save before spending, you begin to feel proud of yourself. You feel responsible. You feel mature. You feel capable. These emotions give you momentum. They push you forward. They help you stay committed on days when you feel tempted to slip back into old habits. Self-pride is one of the most powerful fuels for long-term success. Saving first helps you build that pride little by little. Saving before spending also gives you the freedom to make better choices in the future. When you build savings, opportunities appear that you could not see before. You gain the freedom to take risks that lead to growth. You gain the freedom to walk away from toxic environment. You gain the freedom to invest in new skills. You gain the freedom to support the people you love without harming your own stability. Freedom expands when your savings expand. This habit increases your sense of hope as well. Many people lose hope because they feel stuck financially. They feel trapped by bills and responsibilities. But saving first shows you that you can take control piece by piece. You realize that progress is possible even if you start small. This hope lifts your spirit and gives you strength to keep going. Hope is essential for any kind of transformation. Saving fuels that hope because it shows you real progress in real numbers. Saving before spending also helps you develop stronger discipline. Discipline shapes the quality of your life. When you practice discipline in one area, it spreads into others. You become more consistent with your health, more focused at work, and more intentional with your relationships. Discipline is a form of self-mastery, and saving first is one of the simplest ways to build it. Every time you save before spending, you prove to yourself that you can follow through on your intentions. That proof builds confidence and consistency. Over time, this habit influences the way you see yourself. You begin to trust your ability to manage your life. You begin to see yourself as someone capable of stability and growth. This identity shift is more powerful than any paycheck. When you believe you can manage your life well, you begin to expect more from yourself. You stop settling. You start reaching for better opportunity. You start carrying yourself with a sense of calm power. Saving before spending is not just a financial action. It is a personal transformation. It strengthens your mindset, your character, and your future. It teaches you discipline, patience, clarity, and confidence. It reduces stress and increases stability. It builds a foundation that supports you for the rest of your life. When you save first, you are not just putting money aside. You are building a life where you stand strong no matter what comes your way. Each time you receive income, you have a choice. If you save first, you honor your future. If you spend first, you feed your impulses. One choice leads to stability and strength. The other leads to regret and pressure. The small action of saving first may seem simple, but its impact is extraordinary. It becomes a habit that shapes your entire life. When you save before spending, you strengthen your future dollar by dollar, choice by choice, moment by moment, and one day you will look back with gratitude because you will see how that simple action built a life filled with security, freedom, and peace. Chapter 5. Move fresh earnings into steady wealth building. Every time new earnings enter your hands, you are given a moment that can shape the direction of your entire life. Many people treat this moment casually. They let fresh income drift into old habits and familiar patterns. They spend first and think later. They allow excitement or stress or urgency to guide their next move. And because of that, their money disappears before it ever has a chance to grow. But the few who rise financially approach this moment differently. They treat new earnings as fuel for steady wealth building. They do not wait for someday. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They begin immediately because they understand that money grows only when it is moved with intention. When you move fresh earnings into steady wealth building, you step out of the cycle of living only for today. You no longer depend on luck or hope. You create progress that continues even when life becomes unpredictable. Wealth is not built through big dramatic decisions. It is built through quiet, consistent steps that repeat every time income arrives. Even small contributions grow into something meaningful when they happen regularly. This habit creates strength in your financial life because it turns every paycheck into a building block for your future. One of the reasons many people struggle financially is that they treat fresh earnings as something meant to solve immediate feelings. They use money to comfort themselves, ease stress, or reward themselves. There is nothing wrong with wanting comfort. But when comfort becomes the first priority, wealth becomes impossible. Steady wealth building requires patience. It requires you to think ahead. It requires you to trust that small steps taken today will bring greater stability tomorrow. When you redirect new earnings toward long-term growth, you break the cycle of emotional decisions and replace it with choices that strengthen you. When you move money toward growth, the moment it arrives, you teach yourself that you are capable of taking control. You show yourself that your future matters. You develop a sense of responsibility that lifts your confidence. You feel more grounded because you know you are preparing for something bigger than your present circumstances. This feeling gives you energy. It gives you direction. It makes you more aware of your potential. Steady wealth building begins with structure. You look at your income and choose a percentage or a fixed amount that will automatically move toward growth each time you get paid. This could be investing in a retirement account, a long-term investment fund, or any structured plan that increases your net worth over time. What matters most is consistency. The commitment is more important than the size. When you commit to moving money regularly, you create momentum. That momentum becomes one of the strongest forces in your financial life because it pushes you forward even when your motivation fades. This habit also protects you from the pressure of short-term satisfaction. Many people spend impulsively because they have no plan for their earnings. When money sits in your hands without direction, it becomes easy to waste. But when you assign a portion of your new income to wealth building immediately, you reduce the temptation to spend aimlessly. You make your long-term goals stronger than your momentary desires. This control reduces stress and increases clarity. As you continue building wealth with each paycheck, you begin to notice changes in your mindset. You start thinking more about the future you want to create. You begin to picture the freedom you can experience when your investments grow. You imagine living without constant worry or financial pressure. These thoughts strengthen your discipline because you see what you are working toward. You begin to stay focused even when distractions appear. You become more careful with your choices because you value your progress. Moving fresh earnings toward wealth also sharpens your money awareness. You start paying attention to where your money goes. You notice unnecessary expenses that used to slip by unnoticed. You develop better habits around budgeting and planning without forcing it. Your actions become clearer because they are guided by a purpose. People who grow financially are not always richer than others. They are simply more intentional. They know why they save, why they invest, and why they protect their money. That sense of purpose creates stability. A powerful part of steady wealth building is the emotional relief it brings. When you watch your investments grow, even slowly, you feel a sense of security. You feel like you are moving forward even if your life has challenges. That feeling is incredibly important because many people struggle financially, not because of income, but because of the emotional burden that comes from having no direction. Once you see progress, the burden lifts. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin believing that you can build something meaningful. Another important benefit of moving earnings into wealth building is the discipline it builds. Discipline is not about harsh rules. It is about consistency. Every time you move part of your income toward growth, you strengthen your self-control. You teach yourself to prioritize your long-term well-being. This discipline spreads into other parts of your life as well. You become more responsible with your time, more thoughtful with your choices, and more patient with your goals. Discipline enriches every part of your life, not just your finances. Steady wealth building also gives you power. When you rely solely on your job income, you feel vulnerable. One change can disrupt everything. But when your investments grow, you feel more independent. You begin to understand that money can work for you instead of you working for money alone. That understanding brings confidence and freedom. You gain options. You gain flexibility. You gain peace. Many people believe that wealth building belongs to the lucky or the gifted. But wealth building belongs to anyone who chooses consistency. Money grows quietly. It grows slowly, but it grows powerfully each time you direct fresh earnings into growth. You plant seeds that expand over time. They expand even when you sleep. They expand even during difficult seasons. They expand because you set the system in motion. This habit also prepares you for opportunity. When you build wealth steadily, you gain resources that allow you to take advantage of chances that others are forced to ignore. You may be able to start a small business, invest in a project, support your family, or change careers without fear. Opportunities appear more often when you are prepared. Preparation begins with steady wealth building. The emotional transformation that comes from this habit is one of the most valuable rewards. You feel stronger. You feel wiser. You feel more capable. Instead of feeling controlled by money, you feel like the leader of your financial life. This shift feeds your confidence and motivates you to continue improving. Moving fresh earnings into steady wealth building is not just a financial action. It is a statement. It declares that your future matters. It declares that you are building something bigger than temporary pleasure. It declares that you refuse to live in cycles of stress, confusion, or regret. It is a choice that lifts you from survival toward growth, from uncertainty toward stability, and from fear toward freedom. Every time income enters your hands, the next step should move you forward. When you practice this habit consistently, you will eventually look back and see how far you have come. You will see how small steps created a strong future. You will feel grateful that you started, and you will know deep inside that you earned every part of the life you built. Chapter 6. Protect your money by creating clear paycheck plans. Most people lose control of their money, not because they are careless, but because they never created a clear plan for their paycheck. They move through each month reacting to whatever shows up instead of deciding how their money should work for them. Bills appear and they pay them with stress. Wants appear and they give in with guilt. Emergencies appear and they panic with fear. All of this happens because the paycheck arrives without direction. A paycheck without a plan becomes weak the moment it enters your hands. But a paycheck with a clear plan becomes a shield that protects your future, your peace, and your confidence. When you create a clear paycheck plan, you take charge of something that influences every part of your life. You no longer guess your way through the month. You move with intention. You understand where every dollar is going and why it is going there. This clarity is powerful because money becomes less emotional and more strategic. You start feeling like the leader of your financial life instead of someone being pushed around by obligations and impulses. This shift brings a calmness that many people never experience. Suddenly, your paycheck has a purpose. It supports your goals instead of feeding chaos. A paycheck plan is not a complicated system. It is simply a written decision about how your money should move each time income arrives. It begins with awareness. You look at your responsibilities and your goals with honesty. You identify what must be handled first and what can be reduced or removed. This honesty frees you from confusion. Most people avoid looking at their finances because they fear what they might find. But the moment you face your situation, you gain control. A paycheck plan gives you that control every time money comes in. The strongest paycheck plans start with structure. You break your income into categories that serve your life instead of draining it. You choose specific amounts for your obligations, savings, investments, and personal needs. Each category stands in place before you even receive your next paycheck. That way, nothing catches you off guard. You know exactly what to do the moment income arrives. This structure protects you from random spending and the emotional decisions that undermine progress. Creating clear paycheck plans also strengthens your discipline. Discipline is not about restriction. It is about direction. When you follow your plan, you feel more organized, more grounded, and more capable. You stop drifting aimlessly through the month. You know where you stand financially at all times. This certainty builds self-trust. When you trust yourself, you make bolder decisions. You think with more clarity. You move with more confidence. This is why people with paycheck plans often grow faster than those without one. They remove the uncertainty that slows most people down. A paycheck plan also reduces the emotional weight of money. Many people carry hidden stress because they never feel prepared. They dread paying bills. They fear unexpected expenses. They panic when their money runs low. These emotions drain energy and affect their relationships, work, and health. But when your paycheck has a plan, your stress decreases. You know your priorities are handled. You know your savings are growing. You know your goals are being supported. That sense of order gives your mind room to breathe. You feel more at peace because you are no longer guessing. One of the greatest benefits of a clear paycheck plan is the protection it provides from impulsive spending. Impulse spending happens when money has no destination. When your paycheck enters your account without a plan, everything looks like an option. Every sale, every craving, every distraction becomes tempting. But when your paycheck is already assigned to purposeful categories, your mind responds differently. You become more intentional. You look at temptations and ask yourself whether they align with your plan. Most of the time, they don't. And because you have clarity, you can walk away without regret. A clear paycheck plan also helps you identify habits that have been hurting your progress. You begin noticing patterns that you may have ignored before. You start seeing where money slips through your fingers. You recognize old habits that were draining your income. This awareness is valuable because you cannot fix what you do not see. Once you see it, you can adjust it over time. These adjustments create huge shifts in your financial stability. Paycheck planning also shapes your confidence. When you know exactly how your money moves, you walk through life with more strength. You no longer fear the end of the month. You no longer wonder whether you will make it through unexpected challenges. You no longer feel embarrassed about your finances. Instead, you feel empowered because you are taking control every time you get paid. That empowerment builds a strong mindset, and a strong mindset leads to better decisions and better results. Another important part of paycheck planning is the freedom it creates. Many people think planning restricts them, but the opposite is true. Planning gives you the freedom to enjoy your life without guilt. When you set aside money for enjoyment, you can spend it without stress because you know your responsibilities are covered. You also gain the freedom to dream bigger. You see possibilities for your future that were hidden behind financial chaos. Clarity opens doors that confusion keeps closed. A paycheck plan also helps you adapt to change. Life will always bring new responsibilities, surprises, and challenges. Without a plan, these changes can shake your stability. With a plan, you can adjust your categories and keep moving forward. You learn how to shift without breaking. You learn how to prepare for the unexpected instead of fearing it. This flexibility becomes one of your greatest strengths. Over time, your paycheck plan evolves. As your life evolves, you begin setting new goals. You increase your savings. You build stronger investments. You create space for future projects, dreams, and opportunities. Your plan grows with you. It becomes a tool that supports your growth rather than something that limits you. This evolution gives you a sense of purpose in your financial life. You are no longer surviving. You are building. Creating clear paycheck plans also helps you break negative cycles you may have inherited. Many people grow up in environments where money is chaotic, unpredictable, or stressful. They repeat the patterns they witnessed because they never learned anything different. A paycheck plan breaks that cycle. It teaches you how to handle money with intention instead of fear. This shift does not just change your life. It changes the lives of the people who depend on you. You become an example of stability, strength, and responsibility. The emotional transformation that comes from having a paycheck plan is one of the most important parts of this process. You begin to feel safe. You feel more in control. You feel ready for what life brings. This emotional stability spills into your decisions, relationships, and daily habits. Life feels lighter when your financial direction is clear. You stop feeling like everything is falling apart. You start feeling like things are coming together. Protecting your money through paycheck planning is not about being strict. It is about being intentional. It is about understanding that every dollar you earn has a purpose. And that purpose should support your future, not weaken it. When you build a clear plan for each paycheck, you protect your goals, your peace, and your confidence. You create a life where stability grows month by month, and where your future becomes stronger with each financial decision. Every paycheck is an opportunity to protect your future or leave it exposed. When you create a clear plan, you choose protection. You choose strength. You choose progress. One day you will look back and see that this simple habit changed everything for you. It gave you the power to shape your financial life with clarity and purpose. It built the foundation for the freedom and security you always wanted. Chapter 7. Level up your financial mindset after each payday. Every payday gives you more than a paycheck. It gives you a chance to grow your thinking. Your mindset is the real engine behind every financial decision you make. When your thinking stays the same, your results stay the same. When your thinking rises, your life rises with it. The people who grow financially do something most people overlook. They use every payday as a reminder to elevate their mindset. They treat each paycheck as a checkpoint where they pause, reflect, and reset their direction. They understand that money does not change your life unless your mindset grows at the same time. Without the right mindset, extra money disappears as quickly as it arrives. But with a stronger mindset, even a small amount can become the start of something meaningful. Leveling up your financial mindset begins with awareness. You take a moment after each payday to look at your habits honestly. You ask yourself, what worked this month and what weakened you? You look at your choices without making excuses. This honesty is not harsh. It is freeing. It helps you see patterns that keep you stuck. Every time you see a pattern clearly, you gain the power to change it. Most people repeat the same mistakes because they never pause long enough to study their behavior. But when you use each payday as a moment of awareness, you grow faster than most people around you. A strong financial mindset also requires responsibility. After payday, you remind yourself that your life is shaped by the decisions you make, not by the amount you earn. Responsibility feels powerful because it tells you that you are not trapped. You are not helpless. You are not stuck. You have the ability to adjust your habits, improve your skills, and make better choices. Responsibility turns anxiety into action. It shifts you from waiting for change to creating it. This shift influences your income, your confidence, and your long-term stability. Another part of leveling up your mindset is learning from your past month without judging yourself. Every payday is a moment of reflection. You look at where you overspent, where you made progress, where you hesitated, and where you made strong decisions. This reflection builds wisdom. Wisdom shapes your future more than any financial tool. When you learn from your own behavior, you stop repeating painful cycles. You start forming habits that support your goals. You begin moving from confusion to clarity. Your mindset also grows when you challenge your old beliefs about money. Many people carry beliefs that limit them. Some believe they will always struggle. Some believe they are not smart enough to handle money. Some believe wealth is only for certain people. These beliefs keep you small. After each payday, you have an opportunity to challenge these ideas. You remind yourself that your financial life can change. You remind yourself that skills can be learned. You remind yourself that wealth grows through habits, not luck. Every time you challenge an old belief, you open the door to a better life. Leveling up your mindset also means raising your standard. You decide that you will no longer accept the habits that keep you stressed or unprepared. You make a promise to yourself to aim higher each month. You say no to old patterns that drain your energy. You say yes to actions that strengthen you. When you raise your standards, your behavior must follow. This creates real change because you begin acting in a way that matches the life you want instead of the life you are trying to escape. A strong financial mindset also includes curiosity. After each payday, you become curious about how you can grow. You explore new ideas. You study how money works. You observe how people who are financially strong think and behave. This curiosity helps you expand your possibilities. When you stay curious, you stop feeling limited. You start feeling excited about growth. Curiosity is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Another powerful shift happens when you focus on progress instead of perfection. Many people give up on improving their finances because they expect instant results. When those results don't appear, they feel discouraged. But people with a stronger mindset understand that progress is what matters. Each payday, they look for small improvements. Did they save a little more? Did they avoid an emotional purchase? Did they make a better decision than last month? These small wins build confidence. Confidence leads to larger wins. A mindset that celebrates progress becomes unstoppable. Leveling up your mindset also means training yourself to think long-term. Most people think only about the next few days. They make decisions based on quick comfort rather than lasting growth. After each payday, you practice long-range thinking. You picture where you want to be in 5 years and you align your actions with that picture. This long-term view keeps you steady. It stops you from acting on impulse, protects you from regret. Long-term thinkers grow wealth because they make decisions that support their future, not their momentary feelings. A powerful part of a stronger mindset is learning to separate emotion from action. Money is emotional for many people. Fear, excitement, and stress often influence their choices. After each payday, you give yourself space to breathe before making decisions. You look at your plan with a calm mind. You make choices based on intention instead of emotion. This is one of the greatest signs of financial maturity. When emotion does not control your decisions, you become stronger than your impulses. Your mindset grows even more when you celebrate discipline. Discipline is often seen as difficult, but it is actually a source of pride. Each payday, you notice how consistent you were. You admire the moments where you made the right choice, even when it was inconvenient. This admiration builds a deeper respect for yourself. When you respect yourself, you naturally continue making decisions that support your growth. Self-respect becomes a foundation for lasting financial strength. Another way to level up your mindset is to develop gratitude. Gratitude changes your relationship with money. Instead of feeling frustrated, you appreciate what you have and what you are building. Gratitude brings calmness. It reduces the urge to overspend. It helps you stay grounded even if your income is small. After each payday, you give yourself a moment to appreciate your progress, your efforts, and your direction. This positive energy makes you more focused and more capable of making smart decisions. Your mindset also grows when you create a vision for your future. After each payday, you remind yourself why you are improving your habits. You think about the life you want, the stability you want, the freedom you want. You picture waking up without financial stress. You picture having options instead of limitations. This vision fuels your actions. It gives you strength on difficult days. It helps you stay committed even when life becomes overwhelming. As you continue to level up your mindset payday after payday, you start noticing real changes in how you carry yourself. You feel more confident when making decisions. You feel more in control. You feel less tempted by impulsive choices. You start acting like someone who is building a strong future. Other people may even notice your calmness and discipline. These qualities grow naturally because your mindset is growing over time. This habit of leveling up becomes part of who you are. You don't wait for someone else to push you. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You use every payday as a chance to grow stronger. This consistency transforms you. You become wiser with each month. You become more stable with each decision. You become more focused with each goal you support. Strengthening your mindset after each payday is one of the most powerful habits you can build. It shapes your identity. It shapes your confidence. It shapes your future. Money alone cannot do this for you. But the mindset behind the money can. When you treat every payday as a chance to improve yourself, you grow into someone who is ready for success, someone who can handle responsibility, someone who can build wealth steadily and confidently, and one day you will look back and realize that your mindset was the greatest investment you ever made. Chapter 8. Add purpose to every dollar you receive. Most people never stop to consider the power behind a single dollar. They see money as something to spend or something to hold on to, but they rarely see it as something that can shape their future. Yet the truth is simple. A dollar without purpose becomes weak. It disappears easily and it rarely builds anything meaningful. But a dollar with purpose becomes a tool. Creates stability, creates options, creates growth. When you add purpose to every dollar you receive, you stop drifting through your financial life and start directing it with intention. You begin designing a future instead of receiving one by default. Adding purpose starts with clarity. You take a moment to decide what each dollar means to you before it leaves your hands. You think about the role it should play instead of letting old habits decide for you. Most people spend first and regret later because they never decide what their money should do. They move through each month reacting to impulses, pressures, and distractions. But when you add purpose, you stop reacting and start responding. You make choices that match your goals, not your mood. This simple shift can change your entire financial direction. Purpose also brings confidence when you know why you are using your money in a certain way. You feel more grounded. You no longer wonder whether you made the right decision. You no longer feel guilty about using money for the things that matter to you. You feel secure because your choices support a bigger picture. Confidence grows each time you act with intention. The more you do it, the stronger you feel. This confidence is what separates people who build wealth from those who only talk about it. Giving each dollar a purpose also helps you gain control over your spending. When money has no direction, it slips through your fingers. Small purchases add up. Emotional decisions take over. You end the month wondering where everything went. But when each dollar has an assignment before you spend it, you create a sense of order. You know what belongs to bills, what belongs to savings, what belongs to investing, and what belongs to personal enjoyment. Nothing feels random. Nothing feels confusing. Your money starts working with you instead of working against you. Another powerful part of adding purpose is the awareness it builds. You start paying attention to your habits. You notice where you spend out of routine rather than necessity. You recognize which purchases bring real value and which ones give you only temporary satisfaction. This awareness helps you make improvements month after month. You do not have to change everything at once. You simply adjust your decisions as you learn more about your own behavior over time. These small adjustments create massive growth. Purpose also frees you from financial stress. When you know where your money is going, you stop fearing the unknown. You stop avoiding your bank statements. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You start understanding your financial life clearly. And clarity reduces anxiety. Many people feel stressed not because they lack money but because they lack direction. They live in uncertainty. Purpose removes uncertainty. It creates structure, and structure brings peace. When you add purpose to each dollar, you are also strengthening your future. You give yourself room to save, room to invest, and room to prepare for unexpected events. You no longer rely on hope or chance to protect your life. You build protection through intentional choices. This protection gives you the freedom to handle challenges with maturity instead of panic. When life brings surprises, you feel ready instead of helpless. That readiness improves your confidence and strengthens your stability. Purpose also changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is bad with money or stuff. You begin to view yourself as someone who takes control, someone who plans, someone who builds. Identity is powerful because it affects everything you do. When you see yourself as someone capable, you make stronger choices automatically. You no longer talk yourself out of progress. You no longer settle for less. You begin to expect more from yourself, and your life reflects that expectation. Adding purpose to every dollar also helps you stay focused on your goals. Goals become easier to reach when your money supports them. Every purposeful dollar pulls you closer to what you want. Whether your goal is to buy a home, build a business, support your family, or create financial freedom, purpose ensures your money is moving in that direction. Without purpose, your goals remain dreams. With purpose, they become plan. Another important part of this habit is that it helps you avoid waste. When your dollars have meaning, you naturally become more thoughtful about your spending. You do not feel the urge to buy something just because it is on sale or just because you feel bored. You think before you act. You choose what supports your life instead of what distracts you from it. This simplicity makes your financial journey much easier. Purpose also strengthens discipline. Every time you assign meaning to your money, you practice control. You learn to manage your impulses instead of letting them manage you. This discipline spreads into other areas of your life. You become more focused with your time, more mindful with your habits, and more determined with your goals. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. Adding purpose helps you build that consistency naturally. Another benefit is the sense of pride you feel when you make decisions that match your intentions. You respect yourself more. You see yourself doing things that strengthen your life. This pride fuels better choices. It gives you the motivation to continue. It lifts your self-worth and helps you view your financial journey as something meaningful instead of something stressful. Adding purpose also prepares you for growth. When you know where your money goes, you can make smarter adjustments. You can increase your savings. You can expand your investments. You can work toward larger goals without confusion. You become more strategic because you understand your financial flow clearly. Strategy leads to opportunity. Opportunities lead to growth. Purpose also creates emotional stability. You no longer feel reactive, desperate, or rushed. You feel calm. Calm thinking leads to strong decisions. Strong decisions lead to lasting results. Purpose is not just about money. It shapes your mindset, your behaviors, and your ability to improve your life. When you add purpose to every dollar, you break old habits that held you back. You stop repeating painful cycles. You begin creating patterns that lift you upward. You gain clarity, confidence, discipline, and you build a financial life that supports your dreams instead of working against them. Every dollar you receive is a chance to build your future. When you give it purpose, you turn it into a tool for growth. You create a life where your money strengthens you rather than weakens you. And day by day, purpose transforms your financial journey into something powerful, meaningful, and secure. Chapter 9. Reinforce smart financial discipline. When money arrives, every time money enters your life, you are given a moment that can either strengthen you or weaken you. Most people let that moment slip away. They treat new income as something to spend quickly or something to react to. They let emotions decide before their goals have a chance to speak. But those who grow financially understand something different. They know that discipline must rise the same moment money arrives. Not later, not when it is convenient, not when they feel motivated. The moment the money shows up is the moment discipline must take the lead. Because if discipline does not lead, impulse will. Reinforcing smart discipline begins with awareness. When money arrives, the first thing you do is become conscious of your next move. You don't rush. You don't get pulled by the temptation to spend immediately. You let yourself pause long enough to think clearly. This pause is where discipline begins. Many people fail financially not because they lack income, but because they lack a structured response when income shows up. Discipline fills that gap by creating a stable routine that protects you from old habits. When you reinforce discipline, as soon as money comes in, you send a message to yourself that your future matters. It becomes a personal declaration that you are done living out of impulse. You are done letting distractions lead your life. You are done allowing money to slip through your hands without purpose. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a form of self-respect. It shows you that you are ready to grow beyond survival mode and enter a life where you make decisions with strength, not confusion. Smart financial discipline also helps you protect what you earn. If you do not have discipline, every paycheck becomes vulnerable. You expose your income to emotional spending, sudden cravings, and pressure from others. People lose money not because they are responsible, but because they never learned how to defend their income with structure. When money arrives, discipline acts like a shield. It keeps your income safe long enough for your goals to take priority. Reinforcing discipline also sharpens your decision-making. When money comes in, you immediately guide it toward the right places. You already know what should be handled first, what can wait, and what must be avoided. You remove the confusion that causes many people to spend randomly. With discipline, you approach your finances with clarity. You act with intention. You stop reacting to the moment and begin responding to your long-term needs. This discipline becomes stronger the more consistently you practice it. Every payday becomes an opportunity to build it further each time. You handle money in a responsible and thoughtful way. You strengthen a mental muscle that will serve you for life. You become more confident in your ability to manage challenges. You become more comfortable saying no to choices that weaken your progress. Over time, discipline becomes natural instead of forced. A powerful part of smart discipline is knowing how to separate your needs from your emotion. When money arrives, your emotions may tell you to treat yourself or escape stress with purchases. Your discipline reminds you that emotional relief is temporary, but financial stability lasts. Reinforcing discipline means choosing actions that protect your future instead of feeding your impulses. You start valuing long-term satisfaction more than short-term comfort. This simple shift can completely transform your financial life. Reinforcing discipline also requires honesty. You must be willing to admit which habits are slowing you down. You look at your past decisions with clarity rather than shame. You study your weaknesses so that improve them. Dishonesty is not meant to bring guilt. It is meant to bring growth. The moment you become honest with yourself, you take back your power. Discipline grows best in the presence of truth. Another part of reinforcing discipline is repetition. Every time you receive money, you repeat the same strong actions. You save consistently. You invest consistently. You plan consistently. You do not wait for a good month or extra income. You practice discipline even when it feels small. Consistency is the key that unlocks long-term success. Money responds to repetition. It grows where discipline is present and fades where discipline is absent. Smart discipline also helps you stop avoiding your financial reality. Many people avoid looking at their accounts because they fear what they will see. But avoiding the truth only deepens the damage. Discipline invites you to face your numbers with courage. When you face your financial life with bravery, you discover that it is not as hopeless as it felt. You begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin to see solutions instead of problems. This shift only happens when discipline takes the lead. Reinforcing discipline when money arrives also teaches you how to prioritize. Not everything deserves your money. Not everything deserves your attention. Discipline teaches you to identify what truly matters. It helps you focus on your essentials, your future goals, and your financial health. When discipline becomes your guide, unnecessary spending loses its power over you. You stop wasting money on things that bring no value. You stop trying to impress people. You start building a life that reflects your true priorities. This habit also strengthens emotional stability. Money is one of the biggest triggers for anxiety and stress. But when you apply discipline at the moment your paycheck arrives, you remove uncertainty. You replace chaos with structure. You replace guessing with planning. Discipline gives your mind peace because you know you are acting in your best interest. Peace makes you stronger in every area of your life. It improves your relationships, your mood, and your self-esteem. As discipline grows, you begin to think differently about your future. You stop expecting miracles. You stop relying on love. You understand that your future is shaped by your decisions, not by circumstance. This mindset empowers you. You start taking small steps that compound over time. You start feeling proud of the choices you make. You start seeing progress in places where you once felt stuck. Discipline becomes the foundation that your future is built on. Reinforcing discipline also helps you stay balanced. It teaches you how to enjoy your life without sacrificing your stability. Discipline does not mean depriving yourself. It means choosing wisely. You learn how to enjoy the present without destroying the future. This balance brings a sense of harmony to your financial life. You feel in control without feeling restricted. You feel responsible without feeling trapped. When you reinforce discipline each time money arrives, you create a pattern that leads to financial freedom. You build a reputation with yourself. You prove that you can be trusted. You prove that you can grow. You prove that you can rise above old habits that held you back. This self-trust is priceless. It shapes the way you walk, talk, and make decisions. Discipline is the reason wealthy habits work. It is the glue that holds your financial life together. You cannot build wealth without it. You cannot create stability without it. You cannot grow without it. When money arrives and discipline activates immediately, you build a powerful cycle that supports your future. One day you will look back and see how far this habit took you. You will see how many mistakes it prevented. You will see how much strength it gave you. You will see that discipline was not just a financial tool. It was a life tool. It shaped your character and lifted your future. And it all began the moment you chose to reinforce smart financial discipline every time money arrived. Chapter 10. Expand long-term wealth with each earned dollar. Every dollar you earn carries quiet potential. Most people see it only as fuel for the moment. They use it to cover expenses or satisfy short-term desires, never realizing that each dollar could be the start of something greater. But long-term wealth is built by those who treat every earned dollar as an opportunity to expand their future. They understand that wealth is not created through big windfalls alone. It grows through intention, consistency, and the decision to make every dollar contribute to something meaningful. When you choose to expand your long-term wealth with each earned dollar, you are not just making a financial choice. You are shaping the direction of your life. Growing long-term wealth starts with a simple shift in thinking. You begin to see your income not as something to use up, but as something to build with. This shift brings clarity. You start asking yourself how each dollar can support your future instead of how quickly you can spend it. That mindset separates you from the majority of people who move through life without structure. It puts you in the small group of individuals who grow financially year after year because they refuse to treat their earnings casually. Using each dollar to expand your wealth requires patience. You understand that long-term growth doesn't always produce immediate excitement. It builds slowly, quietly, and steadily. But this pace is what gives it strength. When you invest small amounts consistently, you create a foundation that becomes stronger over time. Your money begins to work even when you are not. This is where long-term wealth comes from, not from sudden luck, but from disciplined decisions that compound over time. Another part of expanding your wealth is choosing where your money should grow. You learn about the tools that build long-term value. You explore investment accounts, retirement accounts, long-term savings, and other avenues that help your money increase steadily. You don't have to be an expert to start. You simply choose to send a portion of every dollar towards something that grows rather than something that disappears. Even small contributions have the power to reshape your future when you repeat them month after month. This habit also requires self-control. When you decide to expand your long-term wealth with each earned dollar, you must be willing to resist the pressure to spend everything you earn. You learn to set boundaries with yourself. You learn to separate what you want right now from what you want for your life. This self-control is not about restriction. It is about direction. You are directing your money toward a future where you are stable, confident, and prepared. A powerful part of this habit is the confidence it builds. When you watch your long-term savings and investments grow, even slowly, you feel a sense of progress that strengthens your belief in yourself. You see evidence that your decisions matter. You begin trusting your ability to create change. This confidence becomes fuel. It encourages you to keep going even during months when growth seems small. Confidence is one of the strongest rewards of long-term wealth building. Expanding your wealth with each earned dollar also reduces financial pressure. When you create multiple layers of long-term value, you give yourself security. You no longer feel vulnerable when challenges appear. You no longer rely on one paycheck to hold your entire life together. The more wealth you build, the more stable you become. This stability affects your stress, your relationships, your work, and your sense of peace. It gives you strength in areas where you once felt weak. Another important part of this process is developing consistency. Wealth does not grow because of one good decision. It grows because of repeated decisions that work together over time. Every time you earn money and choose to direct part of it toward long-term growth, you reinforce a habit that builds your future automatically. You become someone who creates progress without needing motivation. Every single consistency brings reliability to your financial life. Turns goals into results. Using each earned dollar to expand your wealth also helps you stay focused. You begin to think more intentionally about your spend. You ask yourself whether a purchase adds value to your life or steals from your future. This simple question creates clarity. Many people weaken their finances because they never stop to evaluate their choices. But when you build long-term wealth, evaluation becomes natural. You spend differently. You think differently. You value your progress more than temporary satisfaction. This habit also creates opportunities. As your wealth grows, doors begin to open that were once closed. You gain the ability to invest in new projects, explore new paths, and take advantage of chances that others might miss. Opportunities favor those who are prepared, and preparation comes from long-term planning. Every dollar you direct toward your future increases your ability to act when the right moment arrives. Expanding your wealth with every earned dollar also influences your mindset. You start to see yourself as someone capable of managing money wisely. You feel responsible, focused, and empowered. This mindset affects how you approach everything in your life. You become more strategic. You think before making decisions. You start paying attention to the bigger picture rather than getting lost in small moments. A strong financial mindset increases your ability to handle life with maturity and strength. Another benefit is the sense of pride that comes from watching your progress grow. You begin to feel proud of the choices you consistently make. You see the evidence of your discipline and dedication every time you check your long-term accounts. This pride increases your motivation to continue. It reminds you that you are capable of building something meaningful even if you started small. Using each earned dollar to grow your wealth also shapes your future in ways that extend far beyond money. It gives you freedom. When you have long-term wealth, you are not controlled by fear. You are not trapped by circumstances. You gain options that allow you to live life with intention. You can change careers, start a business, support your family, or take time for yourself without feeling unstable. This kind of freedom lifts your spirit and expands your possibilities. Over time, this habit becomes part of your identity. It becomes automatic. Each dollar that comes into your life has a place, a reason, and a future. You no longer waste money mindlessly because you respect your goals too much. You no longer doubt whether you can build wealth because you see the proof consistently. You become someone who grows stronger financially year after year because you choose growth with every dollar you earn. Expanding long-term wealth with each earned dollar is not about chasing wealth for status. It is about creating stability, confidence, and strength. It is about building a life where you are prepared, secure, and capable of handling whatever comes your way. Each dollar becomes a tool. Each paycheck becomes progress. And every choice becomes a step toward a future you are proud of. One day you will look back and realize that this habit changed everything. You will see how much stronger you became. You will see how disciplined you grew. You will see the life you built because you made the simple choice to expand your long-term wealth with each and every dollar you earn.